Hey everyone, it's Marty from RSN Trackside here. Hope everyone's doing well. Last Wednesday when we had our previous show, we reported the news how Patrick Emerling, the Orchard Park native, the two-time Rock Modified champion, would be making his Xfinity Series debut this coming weekend at Bristol. And now we are happy to have him on. He drives the number 02 Our Motorsports Chevrolet this weekend. Patrick, thank you for taking the time. How are you doing, my man?
Good. How are you today?
I'm doing good. So I'll start off with this. Break down the deal for us with Our Motorsports. How did you guys pretty much get this signed for Bristol this coming weekend?
Yep. So our motorsports, Chris Sauer and Andy Seiss, and pretty much the whole team all pretty much consists of, pretty much everyone on the team has a passion for modifieds. They're from, we're all from the Northeast region. Modifieds is where it started for pretty much everybody on the whole team. Between the crew guys, Joe, the crew chief, Andy Seiss, and the team owner, Chris Sauer. So that's that's our first kind of connection there. As Chris Sauer, he used to own Our Motorsports. They used to field a Whelen Modified tour car, the 22. There's several different drivers, including Mike Stefanik in the car, Tommy Barrett, I believe Ted Christopher. So it's just been kind of like a long time, contact a little bit there. So we knew each other from there, and it's just something we were just kind of talking about. We were interested in. I was interested myself into, maybe getting into this kind of racing. So, then it just kind of came about. Then they have Brett Moffitt driving the car. He drove the car in all the races so far this season, and they had Bristol open, so he wasn't going to run Bristol. So that's kind of where the opportunity ccame about.
Following up on that real quick, is this just a one race deal you guys are doing, or are you going to be doing some more races for them this season?
It's one thing we're probably gonna take it. We're gonna get through this coming weekend, and then we're going to be something we're gonna discuss. Obviously, it comes down to a little bit driver performance there. So it's just something. It's in the talks. There is a couple other races that are possibilities, but nothing set in stone right now.
So coming to Bristol, it's a track that means a lot to you. You've won your lone NASCAR Whelen Modified race there, and all except for one start you've had in the Whelen Modifieds at the last Great Coliseum. You finished inside the top 10 every race except for one time there. So what does this mean a lot to you that your first Xfinity start will be at Bristol?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty huge. So Bristol has always been one of my better tracks. It's also one of my favorite tracks, and it's one track I was just, I just liked running the track. I mean, it's really, balls to the wall. In the modified, you're almost flat footing the track, so almost flat footing around there. So it's the one track that we race on that it's just like super exhilarating. It's an adrenaline rush just to drive on. So a lot of these tracks, even Loudon, New Hampshire, and pretty much any short track we run, you go out and practice, and you're just trying to get the most out of the car, and it's the you want to go as fast as you can, and in practice. And at Bristol, the track is so fast, you're carrying the throttle so deep into the corner where it's just a total rush, and it takes you a couple laps to actually get used to doing that, because flat footing, a car into the corner going about, we average 130 there on that half mile. So carrying your car into the corner going 130, 140 plus, while still, staying flat on the gas, getting into the corner like that is something that just takes a little bit of, say, getting used to. Even for the modified, it takes it's quite different, pretty counterintuitive compared to other racetracks, and it's just a rush to drive around there, and let alone racing. It's just a good time.
How have you been preparing for your first Xfinity race, especially where in the early stages of the tough times we are in right now, where NASCAR has banned testing and the motion simulators that manufacturers have?
So, so, I've been kind of just looking at all angles possible, talking to people, talking to different drivers and different people about what to do there. I've been practicing on iRacing, watching videos. I mean, pretty much everything. Pretty much everything you can do is what I've been doing to try to prepare for it, because that's the one thing about that deal that's about running there. It's making me a little bit nervous is that there's no practice, right? So no practice, no qualifying. So the first time I'm gonna drive the track is when the green flag drops for the race. So that's gonna be, that's the one thing that was making me a little bit nervous there. Just, my plan is just to kind of just take it easy, kind of just race it out a little bit, just kind of, just take it easy, make some laps, kind of get used to the car, get used to the track, on that car, with that car. And it should be, I think it should be okay for us, but it's going to be a really big learning curve for me. And driving, a heavier car, I kind of have an idea of what the differences will be, with a couple of them truck starts that I had. I kind of have a good idea of what to expect, but it's still, different car, never been in the car. At a super wild track such as Bristol, so it's just something that I'm trying to look at it from all angles I can, and trying to just obviously our goal for the race would be to finish. So.
All right. So actually, you mentioned your first lap you're going to take in the O2 will be when you take the green flag. It was actually kind of my next question. Have you pretty much, or actually I should say, have you ever had to deal with a weekend or a race day where there's no practice or qualifying coming in? It's just race only?
The only time I did anything remotely close to that concept would be, at the dirt track. So, we would race Freedom. We'd go down Freedom. I'd loaded up the car at my house at 6:30 at night, go down there at 7. They're at 7, unload the car and go straight out for the heat races and just start racing. But that's a whole different kind of ball game there, because in that situation, the setup of the car isn't as crucial, and you can just go out there and hammer down no matter what your car is handling like. You're going to be able to drive the car, where on asphalt, if you have a car that's off, in some cases it can be next to undrivable, right? So there's going to be cars going out in the first lap of the race, smacking their splitters against the ground, at that level. So it's just something, a lot of homework behind the scenes that's going to definitely need to be done. So for a lot of teams to, hit it right off the truck.
Talking with Patrick Emerling from Orchard Park, New York. Patrick's making his Xfinity Series debut this weekend at Bristol. Patrick, I want to move over now to your 07 Modified. We learned a few days ago that Myrtle Beach will be opening up the Whelen Modified Tour on May 30th. Do you plan on running the full tour this season? And also, how many races will you be running outside of the home track schedule, especially on the local side here in Western New York?
Yes, so our plan starting, for this season was to run the full Whelen Modified Tour and compete for compete in the point standings and compete for the championship, and that was going to be our goal. And and unfortunately, so that race, it's just on Friday it became official, and before that, a few days before that, it was just a rumor. And so and then this, running the O2 there, Xfinity car, that came about the week prior, more so. But it's been in talks for a long time, but the deal was kind of solidified, early last week. So Myrtle Beach was just a rumor then. So it kind of, it's kind of a bummer not being able to run the first modified race of the year. And we're not going to be running for points now in the Whelen Modified Tour because of that, because, there's a lot of, even when I heard the Myrtle Beach rumor, there was speculation on it being not a non-points race, and that wasn't the case. So that's a bummer for us there, because we really wanted to, we were putting in with the modified, we were planning on putting a way better effort in than we did in, more of an effort than years past. So it's something that, we wanted to do, but, this opportunity came about, and we're kind of sticking to that.
Last year,
And
go ahead.
Local racing. And then, we had a plan to run the ROC Tour and, other modified races when we can. And, and this season for us is, we're going to see what happens, with the COVID-19 virus, and if we're going to get back racing in New York anytime. There's speculation on whether we are or aren't going to get back to racing locally in the Western New York area. So we're going to keep our fingers crossed there.
On the Whelen Modified Tour last season, you won the All-Star Shootout in New Hampshire. I've witnessed the Modifieds run in person before in Loudon in 2016. You guys provide some spectacular racing there every year. Tell us a little bit more of what that was like winning that All-Star race.
Yeah, that was Loudon, I think, is a track that we showed up there. That's one of my better tracks, and we always had fast cars there, and there was a couple times where I thought we should have been, there's a couple races there I think we should have won, and that I think we were in the running, and we just weren't able to capitalize on it, especially the 2018 Musket 250. We just got edged right across the finish line when we were leading, coming out of coming out of 4 there, and we just were edged just going across the finish line. So we feel that's a track that, that's just a track we really want to win at, and it's and winning the All-Star Shootout, that helped definitely. We had an awesome car that day, and we got wrecked leading the following day, in the bump draft down the straightaway, where we were passing for the lead there. So we had some good cars there, and I think it's just a track that we just need to capitalize on a little bit better, and which I think we were going to this year. But still, it's one of them tracks where you don't know what the results are going to be till the last lap, and obviously it's one of the more exciting. That's why it's one of the more exciting races to run.
Wrapping up our conversation with Patrick Emerling. Patrick, final question for you, going back to the Xfinity Series. Obviously, with the pandemic and the social distancing practices as well, Bristol won't be able to be run without any fans in the grandstands. What is it going to feel like, pretty much, racing without the fans who pretty much make racing the way it is today?
Yeah, so that's going to be, there's going to be a lot less people in the pits as well. The crew I think are limited to 8 people with the crews, and I don't think the drivers are even allowed to show up at the racetrack till 4 hours before the race. And then there's going to be a lot of, I don't even know, but there's going to be what they are specifically, but there's going to be a lot of little rules and stipulations that we're going to have to follow as a team there. And I guess since I never I don't think I raced a race without fans, so that's definitely going to be pretty interesting for us.
Well, Patrick, we definitely appreciate the time with you today here on RSN Trackside. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we're wishing you the best of luck this weekend in your Xfinity debut.
Thank you. You as well.
Patrick is driving the 02-hour Motorsports Chevy. You can catch him this Saturday at 3:30 on FS1 in the Cheddar's 300 at Bristol.